Okay, so the laureates will now receive their medals from the hands of Brieux van Damme, CEO of the King Baudouin Foundation. And we first invite Professor Benjamini to come forward. Okay, we now invite Professor Heller to come forward. Okay, we now invite Professor Yekutieli. Okay, the three laureates will now each say a word of thanks. So I will first give the floor to Professor Benjamini.
I'll take it off. Professor Peter Rousseau, Mr. Birk Van Dam, Maya Hubert, Stefan Van Nijst, Professor David Hunt, where is he? Over there. Friends, family, and guests, shalom. I admit that this is a very special and moving moment for me, so allow me to read from paper. I would like to start my words of thanks by acknowledging some people that escorted me on the FDR journey. I'll mention some by name, some whose names I do not even know. Some are sitting with us, and some are not longer with us. First, I should mention the late Professor Yossi Hochberg, our connection we discussed in my talk. And admittedly, Yossi attracted me to work on large multiple comparison problems. Yossi, who grew up as a scholar in Jewish scripts, developed similar encyclopedic knowledge in the field of multiple comparison, and is remembered not only by the BH procedure, but by the procedure he designed, which is also named after him, Hochberg procedures. Unfortunately, he became ill early in that journey, and the illness drew him back and forth from activity, withdrawing entirely in later years. He was an interesting conversation person. We miss that. He was combining statistics, religion, and philosophy in a jolly way. Not everyone can do it. Professor John Tukey, who has been responsible for my getting into statistics rather than operation research, is the second one I would like to mention. I sent him the first draft of our FDR paper, fearing a response of, it's well known, or, always control the family-wise error rate, as he himself wrote earlier. Instead, to my relief, I got only 2 comments. Reconsider the definition when no discovery is made, and the second, as imported, number your pages. Well, a year later, visiting Princeton, Tukey invited me to meet him and Lyle Jones. We talked about the BH procedure, which he was referring to as the 2 wise procedure, standing for Yosef and Yoav. Yaov, he would call me. Unfortunately, with Tukey, you really can't be sure that he didn't mean the 2 wise, spelled Tooyise, offering something which shouldn't be used, really, right? But I asked him whether the approach may work for pairwise comparison. Maybe, was his short answer. Upon leaving the room, I noticed a working paper on the table carrying the title, The 2 Wise Procedure in State-to-State Differences. The pairwise comparison, right? Which is a draft of the paper that Daniel was discussing. At that time, our paper was already rejected twice, so it was really important for me to get this boost that we're on the right direction, and that was very important for me. Strangely, I owe debt to the many anonymous referees of the different version who were against publication. By the way, the original version was accepted only in the year 2000, 10 years after submission, including Tukey's one, which also took a long time to finish. The elapsed time allowed me to sharpen and develop my own ideas and allowed my students and my collaborators to continue and develop FDR ideas with minimal exposure. Those who know how slowly I write will agree that the tanks are in place. I owe much to my friend, Professor Dave Donahoe, is sitting here. Towards the end of his sabbatical at Tel Aviv, I showed him my work with Felix Abramovich about thresholding, FDR thresholding of wavelength coefficient, that it works well in denoising signals, and explained my intuition as to why FDR control should be beneficial for model selection. As one result, Dave, Ian Johnston, and led Felix and me into a long statistical journey showing remarkable adaptive nature of the BH procedure when facing sparse signals. But another aspect of his contribution is upon his return to Stanford and Berkeley, Dave enthusiastically described the FDR concept, attracting the investigative attention of many colleagues, and that spread the word about FDR and the interest of people to work in the area. I'm proud to be joined in receiving the prize with my ex-student Daniel and Ruthie, who have shown since their first days with me independence and maturity. I had many other students worth mentioning, but the list is too long. Still, I should mention my PhD student Marina Bogolov and my one course student Will Fittian, who are still continue and active and contributing to FDR research. Two unconventional students that I had were Professors Chiara Sabate and Emmanuel Candes. Both have attended the course I gave at Stanford and continue to contribute to FDR theory and practice in important ways. Continuing, actually. Things are in place to three other close friends from the statistical community, Philip Stark, Henry Brown, and Abba Krieger. I spent many months with each of them and collaborated on topics related to FDR and Node. They were usually the first to be asked for responses on various FDR papers, and their comments were always helpful. Back to this evening. I truly appreciate the idea of awarding a noticeable prize in statistics. The recent replicability problems in science have made the importance of our discipline clearer to scientists, bringing statistics from the backyard of science, as Tukey used to say, to its front. A prize in statistics, well above in size to the current prizes in statistics, would further emphasize this point. So I thought well before this prize was initiated. Your vision, Professor Rousseau, and your generosity enabled a prize comparable in size to the Nobel Prize, much more than what I imagined. And I hope it will have the right impact on the field of statistics. Thank you so much for that. To this, I add thanks to the selection committee and its chair, Professor David Hahn, for past experience in such committees. I know it's important, hard work which carries no price. I'm therefore so glad to see some of you here. And it is necessary to add that I appreciate your good judgment. More seriously, the happy period from learning about being awarded the prize in May to receiving it tonight was interwoven with two sad events in our family. After a long illness, my beloved sister Dorit passed away in October. She was a cheerful and lively woman throughout her life and very courageous in her illness. But the last month was difficult for her, for my brother-in-law, for my sister, who sit here, to her children, and to Yael and me. I hoped and prayed that she will manage to be here with us tonight, but she didn't make it. The other sad event involves a very close friend of my daughter, Carmel Gatt, whom we learned to love as well. She was a wonderful and caring woman who studied occupational therapy in Jerusalem. She escorted my daughter, Noah, during her husband's last months and the months thereafter. On October 8, she was kidnapped from her parents' house in Be'eri to Gaza with her sister-in-law while her mother was murdered. The children and women who returned from captivity after 2 months told stories about how courageous and caring was Carmel, running yoga sessions in captivity, making efforts to keep others' morale from failing. Our entire family was weekly in the streets, demonstrating against the government, calling for a deal to return the hostages and end the war. Noah was occasionally speaking in gathering and actually running yoga session in appreciation of Carmel, demanding in silence the release of all hostages. We have not succeeded, neither with our government nor with the Hamas. Carmel was brutally murdered in captivity by members of the Hamas in September, together with 5 other hostages. That's the way it's life. I mean, happy moments interwoven with sad ones. I thank you, Peter, and the committee for endowing me with the happy ones. I add thanks to Stefan and especially to Maya for smoothing, especially for Maya for smoothing the logistic aspects leading to the joyful affair. I had a lot of contacts with you over this period. My family is sitting here, enjoying these moments, I hope. To my pride, my 3 children, Noah, Yuval, and Yair, are wonderful individuals. Yuval is even a professor of statistics at the Hebrew University, following my thread, but in his own way. I do hope that some of my wonderful and smart grandchildren sitting here will also find a career in science for pursuing. Let me make it clear. אני מקווה שחלק מהנכדים החכמים והמתוקים שלי שיושבים כאן ימצאו את דרכם למדע. אולי גם לסטטיסטיקה. Thank you for making it clear. It is a hard but interesting and rewarding world, even if you do not get to receive the highest prize. It is also my belief that science is not only rewarding to people engaged in it, but critically contributes to the peace and prosperity of humanity by sharing common goals across societal conflict. And as to the words spoken in the beginning, I am sure that hampering disconnection by avoidance or boycott goes against this sentiment. And I hope that you will manage to keep to shield science from politics. Finally, especially words to my lifelong love, Yael. We both were PhD students in Princeton. In my thesis, I wrote, "This is just the first half of our joint project. That my half is finished first is the evidence of the many thanks that I owe her." More than 40 years later, we no longer can mark exact points of comparisons. Generally, we exchange leading and being led in our successes. Receiving the prize today is a climax in our joint life project and a renewed evidence for the many thanks I owe you. I shall carry proudly the title of Rousseau Prize Laureate. Shalom, Salamat, peace.
Okay. I'm very grateful to belong to the Scientific Community for Multiple Comparison Procedures, MCP for short. People from all over the world research on FDR today and participate in our MCP conference. A global community with a shared scientific interest, such as ours, brings forth the best in humanity, and a sense that global well-being is possible. I had the great honor to collaborate with wonderful colleagues from all over the world. Among them, Dylan Small, Paul Rosenbaum, Abba Krieger, Aldo Solari, Nilanjan Chatterjee, Thorsten Dickhaus, and Etienne Roquin. I also had the great honor to collaborate with wonderful colleagues in Israel, Malka Gorfein, Marina Bogomolov, Saron Rotzet, Felix Abramovich, Yosef Rinot, and of course, Daniel Yekutieli, who is innovative, brilliant, and very funny, and my anchor and mentor, Yoav Benjamini. I am also grateful to my inspiring students in Tel Aviv University, among them Shaya Kobi, Rita Wolkenstein, Barak Bril, Tzviel Frostig, and Rashesh Karmakar. Most importantly, I thank my dearest collaborator of all times, Yair Heller, on 6 non-MCP scientific papers, but more importantly, on 3 amazing children. Thanks also to my children, Doron, Michelle, and Dolev, who are an endless source of joy and pride. Perhaps there will be a Heller to the power of 5 paper one day. They are so bright and innovative and like the sciences. I'd like to thank Peter Russell and the King Baudouin Foundation for establishing this prize that recognizes and rewards statistics research. It will elevate statistics and may draw more researchers to this wonderful discipline. Finally, I'd like to thank the committee for choosing the FDR group, founded by Yoav Benjamini and Yossi Hochberg, that I'm delighted to be a part of. I hope that the next time this ceremony is performed, the backdrop will be a more peaceful world. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I feel deeply honored, privileged, and very glad to receive the 2024 Rousseau Prize for Statistics with my friends and colleagues, Yoav Benjamini and Ruth Heller. I would like to thank the King Baudouin Foundation, the jury, Professor Mia Hubert and Stefan van Alst, for the great organizing and support, and of course, thank Professor Rousseau for his generosity and foresight in creating the award. Closer to heart, I would like to thank Yossi Hochberg, a brilliant and sadly troubled man who welcomed me to statistics, Ruth Heller, a great friend and colleague, Yoav Benjamini, a great teacher, colleague, and friend, without whom all of this would not have been possible for me. And lastly, I would like to thank my family for their love and support, especially my wife Tamar, because behind each successful man stands a surprised woman.
Well, that is the best ending sentence I could imagine. Thanks a lot, Annie. So, after all these nice and even emotional words, and I'm looking for the pointer, we are now at the end of the ceremony. I thank you again all for attending and being here for the whole afternoon. A few people, and mostly those in the first rows, they should still stay in the auditorium for some group pictures. Everyone else is now invited to the reception, which has been set up next door. Enjoy it, and hope to see you again in 2026 for the next award ceremony. Thank you.